My name is Kayleen, and I'm 37. 7 days back, my divorce papers were finalized. Listen closely to what I tell you now. It could reclaim years of your life. Not because my experience is shocking or extraordinary, but because it's so very common. And that's precisely why it deserves your attention. The legal date was January 1st, 2026. My former husband, Matt, chose it so we could file one last joint tax return. He runs his own company and it helped him financially. I said yes. Even as we ended, we kept making those practical, tiny concessions. That's how sensible we were, how polite, how utterly, heartbreakingly apart. I was the one who chose the divorce, a total act of faith. I'm a mother to a 4-year-old girl. I haven't held a job in years. I'm a trained nurse, but I left work during the pandemic to start our family. My income wasn't necessary. Matt did well. We were secure. More than secure. By every outward measure, I had it all. A wonderful child, financial comfort, a husband who wasn't cruel, unfaithful, or unkind, and still I walked away. Most won't grasp that. When I told loved ones, I saw the puzzlement in their faces. They listened for the hidden cause, the awful revelation. There had to be one, right? Some betrayal, some secret, but there was, in a way, that made everything harder to justify. Let me show you where the cracks began. Once my daughter was born, everything shifted. The pregnancy was smooth. The delivery was straightforward. I was fortunate in countless ways, truly blessed. Yet the instant she was here, something in me broke. Postpartum anxiety washed over me like a tide. I'd always tended toward worry, but becoming a mother intensified it beyond anything I'd known. I shifted into total control mode. I stopped believing in my own instincts. I handed my power over to guides, studies, experts, anything that claimed to show me how to be a good mom. Sleep turned impossible. Not because my daughter didn't sleep. She was a regular newborn, waking every few hours at night. But I'd lie awake beside her crib, gazing into the dark, wired and unable to unwind. I'd only collapse from sheer fatigue, maybe catching an hour before she stirred again. Matt didn't notice. He didn't trust his gut either, much like me. He believed he was doing his part. He was the breadwinner. He was there in the house. He was earning. In his view, that sufficed. He couldn't see I was sinking, and I didn't know how to call for help. When I tried, my words came out sharp, critical. I unintentionally chipped away at his confidence. He felt helpless too. He didn't know what to do. We lost each other completely. We became something less than roommates. It took a full year before I began to feel like myself again. I'd been in therapy throughout, pausing only for about 6 weeks after the birth. Those sessions, that chance to focus on my own healing that first year, were the most significant gift Matt ever gave me. He never realized it. He never knew how much that held me together. After our daughter turned 1, I committed to saving our marriage. I worked tirelessly in therapy to become a better partner. Motherhood was gradually feeling more natural, and I believed I could be a better wife. For 2 more years, I attended therapy faithfully, sometimes with Matt, often alone. I tried every approach I could find, every book, every strategy, every adjustment. Then I had to confront the truth I'd been evading. My marriage had reached its end. I was emotionally drained, physically spent. I felt like I couldn't draw a full breath. My body began shouting at me the only way it could. I fell ill again and again. Ear infections so severe I wound up in urgent care, weeping from the agony. I was forcing something that was already gone, and my body was pleading with me to see it. There was no intimacy left between us. Whatever love I felt for Matt had become familial, like what you'd feel for a sibling or a parent. Kind but detached, secure but hollow. Requesting the divorce was the most difficult choice I've ever made. I thought it would break me. From the outside, it looked irrational. Matt was supportive. He adored our daughter. He earned a good living. He was kind and witty with others. We had stability. We had the traditional family unit. Why would anyone leave that? But my therapist asked me something I'll always carry. She said, "Would you prefer your daughter grow up in one home with married parents who love her but aren't happy, or in 2 homes with divorced parents who are each fulfilled?" She was absolutely right. I was deeply unhappy. And if my daughter learned about relationships from watching me with her father, she'd see that as the model. No closeness. No touch. No hugs or casual kisses. No gentle affection. Just 2 people sharing a space. I want far more for her. I want her to witness a tender, loving partnership. The sort with spontaneous hand-holding and soft kisses without occasion. The kind that offers joy and closeness, not just steadiness. Matt and I couldn't show her that. I am now legally divorced. We've been apart for 7 months. The happiness and sense of purpose I've found already are hard to put into words. It's all still new, but I genuinely feel reborn. I see Matt flourishing too. We've kept a friendship, a civil, cooperative split. That's been an enormous gift for all of us, most of all our daughter. I'm hopeful about my future again. I see Matt hopeful about his. Our daughter is doing wonderfully. I'll always be thankful to him for all he provided, for giving me the chance to raise her without juggling work. Those years with her are among the greatest treasures of my life. I'll return to work soon to support myself and my girl. She turned 4 last September. She may not recall this time together when she's older, but I'll hold these memories forever. Here is what you must hear. Leaving a marriage doesn't require a disaster. It doesn't demand infidelity, cruelty, deception, or financial collapse. Sometimes it's the correct choice simply because you long to be loved, truly loved, not just accommodated or valued or provided for. Loved. That's the choice I made. And it has been the finest decision of my life. I am convinced my daughter will have 2 content, divorced parents. She'll grow up observing genuine intimacy, real affection, true partnership whenever we each find it again. That is worth any price. People ask if I have regrets, if I'm afraid, if I think about what might have been if I just endured. The answer is no, not even for a moment, because I know exactly what would have happened. I would have remained small, stayed silent, stayed severed from myself and from any chance of real love. I spent years attempting to make it work. I gave it my entire effort. There's peace in that. There's no guilt. I know I tried. And I learned when to cease trying. My daughter deserves a mother who is complete, who is happy, who demonstrates what it means to choose yourself when you must, not from selfishness, but from courage. She deserves to understand that staying isn't always the brave path. Sometimes, leaving is. I'm constructing a new life now, one where I decide what I want, where I can rediscover who I am beyond being a wife. I feel scared at times. Being unemployed with a 4-year-old and beginning again at 37 isn't the classic dream. But it's my dream, and it's authentic, and it holds a potential my marriage never did. The initial months after I moved out felt surreal. I'd wake in my new apartment and momentarily forget where I was. Everything seemed both lighter and heavier at once. Lighter because I could finally breathe freely. Heavier because I was stepping into the unknown entirely on my own. I had to relearn how to be just me again, not Matt's wife, not defined by what we were or weren't, just Kayleen. Some evenings, when my daughter was with Matt, I'd sit in the quiet of my empty place and wonder if I'd made a horrible error. The doubts would slip in, but then I'd recall how it felt to live in that house with him. The loneliness of lying beside someone and feeling entirely isolated. The yearning to reach out and holding back because I knew the touch would be empty. That loneliness was far deeper than simply being alone. I began doing small things just for myself, things I hadn't done in years. I'd take long walks without watching the clock. I'd read books unrelated to parenting, marriage, or bettering myself. I'd sit in cafes and simply observe people. I was becoming reacquainted with myself. And I realized I genuinely liked the person I was becoming. If you're in a relationship that feels hollow, even if nothing is overtly wrong, heed that feeling. Don't wait for a crisis. Don't wait for a dramatic justification. Your unhappiness is reason enough. Your longing for more is legitimate. Your need for intimacy, connection, and true partnership matters. I lost years believing I needed a more compelling reason to go. I told myself I was being ungrateful, self-centered, overdramatic. I thought I should be satisfied with what I had because others had it harder. But that thinking trapped me, and it nearly shattered me. You don't need approval to want more from your life. You don't require anyone's consent. You only need the bravery to make that jump. This channel is filled with people like me, sharing lessons learned, errors made, and wisdom gained. If this spoke to you, subscribe, turn on notifications. More stories are on the way. And if you've experienced something similar, or if you're living through it now, leave a comment. Tell me what connected. Tell me what's on your mind. Because these dialogues are important. Your story matters. If you have your own experience worth sharing, something you believe could help another person, you'll find a form in the description below. Fill it out. The next video could feature your voice.